From the Pep Radio Newsroom, these are the stories we are covering at this hour. NBC affiliate WJAC in Altoona is reporting that truth, love, and kindness are what leaders say they brought to the Railroad City Cultural Center in Altoona on Wednesday for a No Hate in Our State town hall. Officials with the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission are partnering with the NAACP to spark discussion on subjects including discrimination in the community. The commission's executive director, Chad Dion Lassiter, noted that as a government entity, we're not coming into this area saying that hate exists. The community knows whatever the issues are. He went on to say that people in general have more similarities than differences, and we can use that to work together. Community members expressed their concerns, one saying, "To be African American in America is to be African with no memory, an American with no privilege. That is what my family has lived in Blair County." Among the ideas brainstormed to help kids in the community get a better idea of how to succeed were mentoring programs. Leaders say understanding the circumstances of people with different experiences and environments can bring people together and strengthen our society. Community historian Harriet Gaston had this to say: "When I got here, I was informed of certain things. So there's perception and there's reality. Unfortunately, people with that perception, it becomes the reality." Subjects also include how discrimination is part of capitalism and certain forms of government. The Imprint is reporting that a report released on Wednesday gives a rare firsthand look inside group homes and lockups for youth, highlighting claims of discrimination and the rawness that lingers after violent incidents with staff being sent to isolation and subjected to subpar school and counseling. "I felt like a prisoner there, and I didn't feel safe there," a young person identified as Anaya wrote of her former group home in a report titled "Broken Bridges, Futures Denied." The Juvenile Law Center's research in the report features direct testimony from a dozen teens and young adults who, like Anaya, were sent to facilities in Pennsylvania by the foster care and juvenile justice systems. Staff attorneys helped pen the report and outlined recommendations. The Juvenile Law Center report follows numerous media exposés and legal actions that have revealed widespread abuse in Pennsylvania youth facilities, some of which have been shut down since the revelations. The Glen Mills School, a once revered juvenile detention facility, for example, shuttered following an investigation by the Philadelphia Inquirer. The following year, the same paper revealed a pattern of sexual abuse complaints at facilities run by the nonprofit Devereaux Advanced Behavioral Health. That prompted the state to remove all young people from its programs and to cut ties with the company. Lawsuits filed earlier this year on behalf of 66 former residents alleged that they were physically or sexually abused at Pennsylvania youth facilities. Such abuse is among the topics addressed by youth contributors to the Juvenile Law Center report. Discrimination of Black, LGBTQ+, and disabled youth living in group settings runs throughout the work conducted by the Juvenile Law Center. Overrepresented in child welfare and juvenile justice systems, these youth are more likely than their peers to end up in group care settings and more likely to face discrimination and poor treatment. One study cited in the report, a 2017 article in the Journal of Youth and Adolescence, found LGBTQ+ boys were 10 times more likely to experience sexual abuse in group care compared to peers. A boy named Zach recalled certain peers not being permitted to participate in the same activities as others and suspected discrimination. "We were never given a reason why they were excluded, but you just saw that anyone who was excluded was someone who identified as LGBTQ+, he said. Other youth described being subjected to racial slurs, treated more aggressively because of their sexual identity and presentation, deprived of appropriate hygiene products, and punished for speaking their native language. Some said they saw Muslim residents denied the right to pray in accordance with their faith, follow cultural dietary restrictions, or wear head coverings. Juvenile Law Center advocates said their first version of this report led to significant change, including the creation of Philadelphia's Office of Youth Ombudsperson, the creation of a task force to study juvenile facilities, and the advancement of several pieces of legislation. And in honor of Banned Books Week, the Oklahoma Voice is reporting that the Crawford County Arkansas Library began moving certain materials, mostly with LGBTQ plus themes, out of segregated social sections and into their original sections at each of the 5 branches Tuesday morning, in compliance with a federal court order, Library System Director Charlene McDonough said. Former Director Deidre Grismala created the social sections between December 2022 and January 2023 as a compromise with the county quorum court after members of the public said children should not have access to LGBTQ plus content. In May 2023, 3 parents in the county sued the quorum court, County Judge Chris Keith, the 5-member library board, and the library's interim director, Ava White, who took over after Grismala's resignation. The plaintiffs sought a permanent injunction and claimed segregating LGBTQ plus books was unlawful censorship of materials based on an extreme and malevolent view of the Bible. On Monday, U.S. District Judge P.K. Holmes III ordered the defendants to move the materials in the social sections to appropriate sections in general circulation without consideration of whether they approve or agree with the viewpoints expressed in such materials, and without consideration of whether the viewpoints expressed in such materials are unpopular or controversial. Holmes' ruling agreed with the plaintiffs that the social sections were based on discrimination against books containing viewpoints that are unpopular or controversial in Crawford County, violating the First Amendment. That's a quick check of the news for today. Let's now get back to more music here on PEP Radio.